Atlanta Warriors, thank you for watching Traversing the Dark. I am Professor Casey Angel Eyes, and this lesson, lesson 2, is about integrating your ego, your inner child, and your shadow. But you need to know what they are first, right? Okay, an unhealed ego, okay, is a security guard thinking that they're a CEO. They're only your ego. The only position your ego should have is to be a security guard at the door. They're the ones that the ego warns you of danger coming. That is their only position, and they're very good at it. But somehow our egos became CEOs, and we think that we are our egos, and that is not true. We are not our egos. We are the observer. The ego is supposed to be at the guard gate or at the door, saying, hey, there's some danger coming, or no, these people are okay, or this situation is fine, and let them in. Okay? Your inner child is the younger you, okay? The one that sees magic, who talks to birds, who hugs trees, who wades in the pond and sees fairies and gnomes and all the elementals in the world, and wants to sing and wants to dance and wants to color and wants to, use creativity. That's your inner child, okay? And your shadow is actually your wisdom holder. It's not this dark, mysterious, evil being inside of your body. It's not. It's your wisdom holder. That's where all your wisdom goes. And this is how it happens, okay? So an unhealed ego, security guard, pretending to be a CEO, all right? If something should happen, they go nuts. They cause chaos. Oh, what about this $1,200 mortgage that I can't pay? What about going to the store? Do we have any money for the store? Let's hurry up and get into the store so nobody else can, take what we want or what we need, okay? Or something like what happened in my life, since I'm a generational curse breaker of relationships. Oh, let's pick this guy, even though there's a whole bunch of nice guys in the room. Let's pick the narcissist, because we know narcissist. We could survive narcissist. We don't know if we could survive a nice guy. Okay? That's an unhealed security guard posing as a CEO. Unhealed child. Okay? The unhealed inner child. When the ego starts its chaos, okay, the inner child gets scared, because now, sorry, I moved the thing, because now it's triggered, and the chaos that the ego is putting the inner child through, okay, triggers the inner child of trauma that she or he has already experienced. So what she or he does is he or she goes down. I'm going to say it, okay, because he or she is just, it's too much. Anyway, it's too much. All right. The inner child runs down to the basement because there are protectors down there, which is the shadow side. She hides on the shadow side's lap, and the shadow side makes her feel better, makes her feel protected, which is what she wants, what she needs. Okay. Now the shadow, it's the wisdom holder, like I told you. But an unhealed shadow, well, that's a different story. That's a different story. Because you got to understand, the ego posing as a CEO is going to throw everything that it thinks that is shameful, or, oh, we don't want the neighbors to know, or look what I did last night, or, oh, my thoughts are not correct, or, gossiping in your head just about you, you gossiping to you about somebody in your workplace, okay? And you throw it down in the basement. They throw it down in the basement where the shadow is. Okay, well, eventually over years and years and years and years and years of doing this, now the basement's getting pretty clogged with all this stuff, okay? And it's not just bad stuff either. It's the inner child wanting to hug a tree. No, don't do that. What would people think? You know? Or wanting to be a dancer or singer or something outside the box, okay? No, you can't do that. You have to status quo. You know, let's just do what our parents did. All right? And eventually the basement gets really clogged. Okay? Clogged with everything. And it's getting tighter and tighter for the shadow to be there. Okay? And I'll give you an example in my life, okay? I told you that in the last video that I was a drinker for 10 years. And I did drugs since I was 12. Now, I'm completely overdoing drugs and I'm completely overdoing drinking. When I decided that I was had enough, then I stopped, okay? But I still have the memories. The memories are still there. I can remember what I've done, okay? Because my shadow is not in the basement anymore. I don't hide my shadow. My shadow and I, look at the hair. Oh. My shadow and I are friends. And I'm going to tell you how to do that too. But anyway, let's get back to the story because I get off on a tangent. You guys know me by now. All right. Where was I? That's where I was. No, I wasn't there either. Yes, I was. Okay, so, all right. When I was drinking, okay, I didn't have cocktails. I had shots. Okay, at first it was whiskey. Whiskey shot. I was a whiskey drinker. Whiskey shots. And then for some reason I switched to vodka. Okay, and I wouldn't even use a shot glass. I would just drink it right out of the bottle. And, when I had my first shot, okay, it didn't act quick enough. So by the time I had my fifth shot, my first shot is now kicking in, okay? And then I get a blackout. And if someone triggered me by saying something or doing something and it triggered me, my shadow side came out, and she was a very, very angry woman. I told you that in the last video, I think, okay? And she knew where to hit because she's an observer. She observed everybody. She observed their mannerisms. She observed what they feared, what they liked. She observed everybody. So when she came out, she came out fighting. And that wasn't a good thing. Not for anybody. Not for the ego, not for the inner child, not for the shadow, and it certainly wasn't for me. Okay? So, we had to go around, we had to apologize the next day. All right? And it was a vicious cycle. And when I apologized, I actually really meant it. But then 4 days later, I'm back at it again because I was hiding from my trauma. I was hiding from the fact that I was told that the only purpose I had on this planet was to do for others. And screw me. Screw what I wanted. Didn't matter what I wanted. No, my voice didn't matter. Be seen, not heard. I was everybody's doormat. Everybody's doormat. Family, friends, co-workers, bosses, people on the street. I was everybody's doormat. And I kept swallowing it and kept swallowing it and kept swallowing it until I couldn't swallow it anymore. Until I couldn't do it anymore. And then I would drink. And then that's when my shadow side came out. And it was, like I said, it was a vicious cycle until I went into my dark night of the soul, which happened at the end of 2021 when my brother passed to his next greatest adventure. That's what it started. He was the catalyst to throw me into my dark night. By 2022, January the 1st, 2022, I was done with it. Okay. Now I have some notes here. Okay. I already told you about the unhealed parts. Okay. Now, the healed parts of the ego, like I told you, is a security guard. It warns, oh my goodness gracious, it warns you of danger, you know. The inner child is actually your heart, you know, the one that sees fairies, the one that wants to hug trees. I told you all of that. And then your shadow side is your wisdom holder, you know. All the trauma that you had in your lifetime, you know, what did you learn from it? You learned something. What was it? Okay. That's your wisdom. And I'll give you my example. I am a generational curse breaker. I think I've told you this in the last video, but I'm going to reiterate it anyway. I'm a generational curse breaker of 3 curses. It's relationships, finances, and self-esteem. And I've had problems with all 3 of them. My entire life. My entire life I had problems with them. Because I didn't feel like I was good enough for anybody. I'll give you an example of one of my problems. I was at work. It was a new job, okay? And I was sitting at a table. It was in the break room. And some girl came in. And my shadow or my intuition said, she'll never be your friend. Well, the way my ego, who was running the show, interpreted was, she'll never be your friend. She'll never be our friend because we're not good enough. That's not what my shadow meant. My shadow meant, watch out for this girl because she's not good for you. But I didn't see it that way. And I found out later. It took me 7 years because, you know, I'm not the smartest crown in the box. You know what I'm saying? It took me 7 years to realize it. But I did. Okay? And when I did, that was the end of our friendship. We were no more friends. Because I'm the type of person that, you know, you do me dirty, I'll give you a second chance. You do me dirty twice and I'm done. I'm done. I'll turn around and I'll walk away from you quickly. You know, but my whole entire life I spent with no boundaries. Nobody taught me how to set boundaries. I didn't even know what boundary was, tell you the truth. You know, and that's another generational curse that I took on as a Blu-ray to extinguish it out of my bloodline. You know, low self-esteem. I already told you about that one. You know, I didn't think I was worth anything, really. And I acted like that, too. Really, my entire life, I acted like that. You know, not that I didn't want love. I did, but I chose wrong. Because I understood the narcissist. I understood the abusers. I understood the survival that you needed to get through that. I was trained to do that. I watched my mother. I watched, you know, a lot of people around me in such relationships. I just thought it was normal. It wasn't. It's not. It's not. Okay? And until I healed myself through this dark night of the soul, I didn't know. I was oblivious. Truly I was. Hold on for a minute. How I integrated my all 4 of me. Okay. Oh, I said 3. 4. All 4 of me. All right. I went into I told you I have Sims. I have a world up in here. Okay. And I can imagine, I'm a great imagination. I have a great imagination. So what I did was I have a theater in my head. Okay. And I'm on the stage and I called my inner child, which is my 5-year-old, my 12-year-old, my 17-year-old, my 25, 35, 45, and 55. I called them all on the stage. I called the ego on the stage. And I called my shadow side on the stage. And I told the ego, I said, thank you very much for trying to be a CEO, but you're not good at it. You suck at being a CEO, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to move you into the position that you're perfect for. And that's a security guard at the door. Your job is to tell us, all right, the corporation, if there's danger coming, a potential danger, or if the person at the door is good enough for I don't want to say good enough, you know what I'm saying, but doesn't cause any problems, doesn't cause any danger to us, to, you know, so we can let them in. All right, that's your job. All right, now when I first did it, she wasn't a happy camper. She wanted to be the CEO because she has been doing it my entire life. Okay, but now I'm healed enough so I could take over. Okay, and be careful of your, when you do start integrating your ego, you have to be very, very careful. You have to listen to your thoughts. Okay, you have to listen to your thoughts, because they're sneaky. They're very sneaky. So you have to listen. And if you think something mean, forgive yourself. It's not you. It's your ego. You know, oh, that's just ego. Name them. Name them. Just make a name for them, for your shadow. Make a name for your inner child. Make a name for your ego. Make a name for them so you can departmentalize each of them. You know, my ego is called K. Oh, that's just K. She's having a bad day. You know, my inner child is Casey. That's my inner child. Angel Eyes is my shadow. And my name is Janet. Okay? Those are my four. All right? I'm the CEO. And my shadow side is my wisdom keeper. She's the truth teller. You know, and she's also has my spiritual name, which is Angel Eyes. That's my spiritual name. And she holds that. We had an argument. We did. I said, no, I want that name. She goes, no, you're not. This is my name. And she earned it. So I said, okay, all right, you win. No, really, I have this conversation in my head. And, you know, it worked. You know, Kay, she likes the fairies, man. You know, she loved the fairies. When we saw fairies, oh, she was thrilled. Oh my goodness, this child was thrilled. You know, and she was thrilled when Mr. Tree in the front yard moved for her. You know, and when she was fighting with the saplings in the backyard. You know, or when she saw that I don't know what it was. Caterpillar? I don't know. Big green one, I told you the last one. When she saw that, she was impressed. You know, she was very impressed. You know, she wanted to be a dancer. She wanted to be a dancer when we were younger. But I started late. I started when I was 14. And I had to audition and everything. I think I told you about that. Miss 50th, Fithian School of Dance and Drama. Okay? But she acted like my stepfather at the time, and, you know, always pushing. And I couldn't take it, and I walked out. And that was it for that. Okay, so that's how you integrate. You name them. You have to get to know them, though. You have to get to know their parts, what they play, and then you have to listen. You have to listen. But ultimately, you are the divine sovereign being. So you are the CEO. You make the decisions, not them. They don't make decisions. They could be your counsel, but they can't make decisions for you. You have to do that. And through your healing, you're going to. Because eventually you're going to have to face your shadow. You're going to have to face your trauma. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. Because you have to turn around, you have to look at it. You have to acknowledge it. I already told you this. I think I already told you this. You know? And you have to heal. Because you can't be a sovereign divine being still in the trenches, still in the mud, you know, the mud being your trauma. You can't be. You have to rise above that. And you can do that. You can rise above it. But you have to put in a lot of effort, you know. Now, My shadow, my dark night of the soul is different from many. There is some of us on this earth that we are graduating, so we have it rough, you know, but you have it rough too. Anybody is going through a dark night, anybody's going through a tower room, it's rough. It's really rough, but you can do this. And you just have to make friends with your shadow. You have to make friends with your inner child. You have to make friends with your ego. And you have to know that the ego is not in control. You're in control. You're controlling the corporation, not your ego. Ego is really bad at it. I already told you all this, right? Right. There's not too much information about that except for that. You know, now when I remember when I reached a certain level of my healing, I would go in there and I would call everybody to the stage and we would do a conga line. And the inner child, she's first, the 5-year-old, she was first. Okay? And you know, and then, you know, we all had a line and I was in the end. I was behind them because I was the leader. And we danced around the stage and we had fun. It was fun. It really was. And that's how we, you know, gave ourselves a salute for doing a good job. Now, I did ask Great Spirit a couple of nights ago, you know, I haven't been feeling well. I've been feeling very, very tired. And I just couldn't sleep. And then when I do sleep, I only sleep for 5 hours because I watch my mom. And I wasn't feeling very well. I was very low. You know, I was just sitting there like a bump on the log, to tell you the truth, you know. It happens, you know. I mean, you have to give yourself grace. You know, when you need to rest, rest. This is not the Matrix. You're trying to get out of the Matrix. The Matrix teaches us that no matter if you're tired or not, you have to keep going until you drop. Okay? But when you're healing, you have to give yourself grace. You don't have to work all the time. Okay, you really don't. You know, even though that's what we've been taught our entire lives. Okay? And the multi-lives that we've lived, because trust me, you've lived more than once. Okay? It's a reincarnation wheel. All right? It's like healing is like I told you. You remember I told you that Neo is in the pod. And it was Morpheus. They did something to tell the I don't even know what it was, like the battery operators, that this battery was dead. Okay, I watched the show and I loved the movies, but I can't remember everything. Okay, so he was dumped out, and that's when Morpheus took him. Okay. And they had to actually wake him up, deprogram him, okay? And it hurt. That's what your dark night and that's what your tower moments are going to do. You know, they're going to hurt. They're going to hurt. I told you this last video, all right? But you have to look at it. You have to cry. It has to come out, right? It has to come out. Shout. I've been known to go outside and shout at Great Spirit. You know, they teach you in organized religion that you can't do that. But, you know, you actually can. I found out that it's a form of intimacy with the divine. And I talk to divine every day. You know, when you're going through your dark night, you know, you're gonna feel like they left you, but they didn't. But you're a divine being. So they're gonna sit back and they're gonna see what you do. How do you handle it? All right. So I've been going through this since 2021. So a couple of weeks ago, well, it was a couple of weeks or a week ago or something like that, I asked the divine, I said, is what I'm doing actually really working? Because I don't see anything outside myself. And, you know, in all these videos in the spirituality is that your outside will reflect your inside. Well, you know, my outside's not reflecting my inside. My reflection, it's not. The reflection is not right. So I asked divine, I said, am I really doing something? Or am I just making this crap up? You know? And so I had a miracle happen, and I was able to put a new roof on my house, okay? And that was a miracle, trust me, because I'm $70,000 in the hole through credit cards and medical bills. $70,000, and I don't make a penny. My mom gives me a small allowance every month to pay my little like my phone bills and stuff like that I need. But other than that, that's it. Twice a month I get all stressed out paying bills. I get stressed out because every penny that her Social Security and her retirement brings in, it goes out in bills. I mean, last year I was paying electricity $500 a month. $500 a month. So I told my granddaughter and my mom, I said, I know this is going to be very uncomfortable, but we're turning off the air. We're turning off the air. I want to see something. I want to see if the bill goes up to $500, even though we don't have the air conditioning on. So we've got a couple more days, and we'll see. Because I think these companies are gouging us because the government's allowing it. That's just my opinion. You can have your own, but that's what I think. Okay, and it's getting harder and harder and harder to pay the bills, especially when you're on a fixed income. So my outside is not reflecting my inside. So I asked Great Spirit, I said, show me. So show me inside. Show it to me inside, because if I can experience on the inside, then I'll know it's true. So I laid down on the couch waiting for the guys. They were supposed to come and put the roof on that day, and I didn't want to miss him, because my bedroom's all the way in the end of the house, so the living room is right there next to the door, so I would hear it. So I laid down on the couch, and there's a light in the living room, and it's like for bugs, for bugs. And my intuition, it was like a ball, and it what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Not vibrated, it's not pulsated, like this. It goes like this. And it was coming from the end of the room to me, just pulsating like this. My eyes are open. I didn't think I was asleep, and all of a sudden the light in the living room turned dark. All the lights went out. It was pitch black in there. All right, but I can see this being. It was a black being, not the color of the skin, nothing like that. Just the aura was black, and it came from my feet, and it walked. Because I was laying down, of course, sleeping on the couch, laying on the couch, and it went from my feet all the way up to my head, and then it turned around. And yes, I was fearful. I was, because I didn't know what's going on. I never had that experience before. I've had a lot of experiences, but I never had that one. And so I called Sananda. And then I said to myself, no, wait a minute. You're a divine sovereign being. We can do this on our own. So when the being reached down to grab me, my mouth became like a mouth of a gator. I mean, it elongated, and it was large. I mean, and I snapped at it. I don't know if I bit it, but I did snap at it. And then all of a sudden it went away, and I fell into sleep, a real sleep, and I woke up like 2.5 hours later. And of course I Googled it, because I didn't know what the hell that was. And they said that was me showing me that, yes, what I've been doing, healing myself and stuff, it's working. So, I told the being in that one snap that I'm no one to be messed with. I'm a sovereign being, and they're not welcome here. And it left. It did. You just have to know it. You already are. You were born sovereign. You were born divine. You just have to remember it. And that's what I'm here for. And I'm telling you my stories. I'm telling you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm $70,000 in debt. Am I worried about it? Nope. It's going to be paid. It will. Just not right now. I don't have the money for it now. But I will. Because that's the, that's the last hook that the Matrix has in me. And I want it done. I want it paid and full. I don't want to owe nobody nothing. As far as credit's concerned, I'll probably never get credit again. I ruined my credit. I ruined it because the house that we live in is a money pit. And it took a lot of money to get foundation. And I'm not just talking about painting or nothing like that. Foundation. The foundation, the air conditioning, and the plumbing. All the major stuff. Oh, and let's not forget the gas leak that we had. It cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And where was I going to get it? I had a credit card, so I put it on a credit card. And like I told you in the last video, I thought I was going to get a miracle, and I didn't get it. It didn't arrive. But it was designed to do so. Okay? And now, oh well. Do I sit at the table worried? No. I do get stressed out when I pay the bills. I mean, I do. I don't like paying bills because, I like paying bills, but, not when you only have so much money, okay? Because I want all the bills paid, and I want extra money. I went to the grocery store a couple of days ago and spent $145. And that wasn't even on the credit card. That was money in my bank account, okay? $145 for just minimum things for the week. Minimum. And I still needed to get more stuff, but I didn't have the money for it. So when I got home, I told Grace Spirit, I said, okay, I need this. I need this. It has to happen, And a couple of days later, I got it. That's how come that's how come I came up with that $145. I just asked Grace Spirit. And within a couple of days, I get it. It's just enough. It's never more, but it's enough. And that's enough for me for right now. There's a reason why I'm going through this. See? I told you I'm just like you. I am you. I know what you're going through. The misfits. The starseeds. The light workers. I know. Because I am you. I just decided to come back and grab your hand and, light your lantern so you can walk out of the dark night like you own it. Because you do. And I'm proud of you. Because not many people are on this trajectory. Not many people are. And, I know a couple of people that should be and aren't. Because they're not ready. And I get that. I do. I get that. They'll be ready maybe in the next life. Maybe a couple of lifetimes from now. This is your nighttime. If you're listening to my videos, it's your lifetime. It's my lifetime too. It's my graduation life. That's why I'm being very, very open about what I know. And like I told you in the last video again, take it from me. I took the hardest part of spirituality. Let's see. What else do I need? What else do I want? Let's see. Okay. The ego creates distractions, right? I'm going to read it because, my memory. All right. This is, the ego creates distractions with work, social media, addictions. Let's see. What else? Let's see. To make sure that we never have to look back. My goodness gracious. Trauma. Silence. Nobody likes to go into the silence, right? Oh no, they're scared of the silence. That's where the shadow is in the silence. That's where your wisdom are. Your wisdom's in the silence. We shouldn't be afraid of that. I was afraid of it. I was afraid of going into the silence, you know, but your ego wants you to, your ego is a construct of the matrix. You have to have an ego. An ego death, that's some made up shit. You have to have at least a small ego, you know, not that gigantic ego who thinks it's a CEO. No, you don't need that, but you do need an ego, because who's gonna secure the door? That's their job, you know. But you can't let it rule you. You can't. You have to know yourself. That's how come the last video I told you, did you go in and go to AstroSeek and get your draconic, your tropical, and your sidereal and study it? Not read it, study it. Did you do that? Did you answer the questions that I put on the comments? I'm going to put more. It's for you, not for me. You know, I'm going to start a Discord, and I'm going to, that's where we're all going to congregate. You know, the other two ladies that are helping me with this school, you know, we're a team. And I told you on this last one too, I mean, it was an hour and a half long, okay? So it's not going to be that long this time. Okay? I'm looking for 3 others. I don't know where they are. I know they're somewhere here. Not here, but around the world, you know. And if you feel that my videos are resonating with you, then maybe you're one of my soul tribe, and maybe we're the ones you're looking for. There's 3 of us so far. Creative director, a therapist, and then the professor, who is me. And we're going to start a Discord, and it's going to be a closed class, so not everybody can get in there. I don't want looky-loos. I want leaders. That's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for the leaders. Okay? That's what I'm looking for. The warrior leaders. That's my people. The misfits. You know, go listen to, I think it's Imagine Dragon, Sympathy of the Misfits. Okay? I'm going to list, I didn't do it the last comment on the last video, but Revolution and Think Like a King. I'll list it in the second video's comment section, so you can just go listen to it. Make your own music list. It got me through my dark night. It really did. You know, Revolution and, you know, all of them. I would sing to myself. I would dance in the kitchen. You know, it got my heart pumping. You know, because I know that, you know, the issues that I had to look at were very deep and very painful. And, you know, I just want to let you guys know that if you need a therapist, go get one. That's a warrior move. It is. And it's showing you they're showing your inner child and your shadow and your ego that you mean business, that you're the leader of the home, of the hearth, which is your body, okay, and your mind. You're the leader. So if you need help with it, then go get it. See, my whole life, I told you on the last video, my whole life has geared me up to do it on my own. You know, I've been through the ringer, for sure. You know, if you're wondering, you know, other stories, then go over to my TikTok channel. It's Casey.AngelEyes. Okay? Then go listen. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for tonight. Now you know your ego. You know the position your ego is supposed to take up. Is a security guard. Go love up your inner child. Let him or her do something exciting, go swing on a swing set. Go see a rock. Go pick up a rock. You know? Go, I don't know, sit in the grass. Talk to Mother Gaia. Stick your hands in the grass. You know, be careful because, you know, now it's, you know, it's spring, almost summer. There's things in there. In fact, I went, let's see, I don't know, last week or so. I had to go in the backyard and start pulling up, you know, my whole backyard is nothing but weeds and dirt, okay? It used to be grass, but my dogs took care of that. And I had to pull up these, oh my goodness, they're big. I was pulling them up. And, you know, they're some kind of weed. I don't even know what it was. And, I started to get, my leg would itch. It was itching. And I would scratch it, you know, you saw me the last video. I was scratching through my clothes, you know, and, it turned out to be a trigger, I don't even know. I don't even know, some kind of bug that attaches to your leg and sucks your blood. It's not like a tick. Ooh, I don't like ticks. I remember we were at the family reunion one night, and I was young. I was, you know, late 30s maybe, and we were at the family reunion, and I went to the bathroom, and I saw a tick on myself, and luckily I had my bathing suit on underneath my clothes, because I was running out of the bathroom, tearing off my shirt, screaming for my mommy. Really, and I was in my late 30s. Mommy, please take the tick off me. Take the tick off me. I'm definitely afraid of ticks. I don't like ticks at all. You know, when I was watching, what's it called? Dang. Why did I even mention it if I don't forgot? With Bella and Edward, Twilight. When I was watching Twilight, I didn't like the vampires. I don't like anything that sucks your blood. I really don't. I like the werewolves. I was team werewolf. You know, my granddaughter, she's 20 now, but she was younger back then, and she was teen vampires, and I don't like that. All right, well, I guess I've rambled enough. I hope I taught you something. Okay, I have a lot of notes, but, you know, I was just getting confused. You know, I knew what an ego was, I knew what an inner child was, and I knew what a shadow was, and I actually knew what they did. I just couldn't put it into words, you know, so I have a lot of notes trying to put it into words, and I wasted a lot of paper, you know, because I have to write it down first, and then I could talk about it, you know. So I'm going to leave you to yourselves. You know, go do your homework. Don't forget your homework. Is only going to help you, okay? And just know that I see you. I was you. I am you. And I love you. Bye. Peace.